As its name implies, starter is intended to get plants off to a good start. It's formulated to work in small plants to get their metabolic pathways, their nutrients, and all of those things kick-started early on in the season so that we get good root development, we get early season growth, and we get off to a great start in the growing season. Now, as we've been talking about during the entire month of March, there's little doubt that spring is going to be congested, spring is going to be condensed, and spring is going to be challenging. And unfortunately, one of the things that I'm starting to get asked by growers right now is, for the sake of speed, can I just skip the starter applications this year on my planter? And I think that that's a really bad idea. But not only do I think it's a bad idea, after our Innovation Series events last season, we have data to prove that as well. I'm Keith Byerly, Precision Ag Manager at Central Valley Ag, and with me today is Mick Godekin. And this is your agronomy focus video that corresponds with the article on the CVA website. So Mick, last year during the innovation events, we did several starter trials across all of the sites, and they yielded some pretty interesting results.
Definitely, Keith. We did our begin starter, in-furrow starter versus no starter fertilizer. Across our sites, we averaged 15.7 bushel yield increase. It ranged anywhere from a 3.9 bushel to a 25.7 bushel increase. And these were all sites that had high phosphorus values.
As I remember, 39 part per million was the lowest phosphate test, the lowest P1 test that we had at any of those sites.
Correct. We were well above that critical value for P, and we still saw that response.
And that leads back to the conversation that we start with, where phosphorus in that starter isn't just another part of the phosphorus application. It's there as a starter product, and the research supports that.
Correct. And that our begin fertilizer has that unique blend, that custom blend of many nutrients that help support that young plant growth. And you look at last year, we planted into warm soils. Standing here today, I don't know if we're going to have warm soils this season.
So as much as maybe we'd like to think that it's the formulation and the blend of those products in there, I think part of that conversation also has to go to the placement of the starter.
Certainly, placement. You think about how that new corn plant develops and where those roots take off from. They're right there in the furrow, and then they spread outward. And having an in-furrow helps that plant grab it early on and utilize it effectively.
When we place a band of starter on the surface, it still does some good, but it's more fertilizer than it is starter.
You know, to me, on the surface, that is actually a fertilizer application. That's not really a starter. It's not where those young roots are going to grab it. It has to move in order for those young roots to grab it.
So guys that think that maybe they can't afford to put begin on because there's a cost difference there, or the low salt starters on because they carry a cost difference versus just 5 gallon of 1034O, if we looked at making kind of the same blend with 1034O as a base and putting it on the surface, we'd really only be saving about $5 or $6 an acre there. And I think this is a classic case of where saving $5 might be costing us 15 or 25 in the long run.
Definitely, because we'll see that boost from that placement.
So the take-home message for you today isn't just that starter is a critical part of getting plants going, especially in the northern Corn Belt, but it's also a call to action for you to look at the starter application system that you have on your planter. The ACS equipment team has a number of different attachments that allow us to place starter down in furrow and get it successfully below the surface of the ground where it's safe and it's there for those young roots to find. So we've still got time to make those adjustments and make those plans and those additions to your planter to get starter on, to keep it in your program, and to get the crop off to the best start we can for 2019.